From the AM/FM 24/7 radio network, ClearPoint Financial Solutions presents the Small Business Administration Award-winning School for Startups Radio, where we talk all things small business and entrepreneurship. Now, here's your host, the guy that believes that anyone can be an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurship is not about creativity, risk, or passion, Jim Beach.
Hello, welcome to another exciting edition of School for Startups Radio. Hope you're having a fantastic Wednesday, going out there, taking over the world, enjoying the roller coaster life of an entrepreneur, the ups and downs, the sudden backflips, the twists, all of those things that we encounter. Welcome to School for Startups Radio. You know, we promise two things here: to give you the motivation to get off the sofa, to go out there and start a business, grow your business, whatever it takes. And number two, we promise to give you the tips, the tricks, the techniques, the latest trends so that you can be successful. We have a fantastic show for you today on this Wednesday, May 2nd, 2018. We're going to talk about two topics. It's sort of a theme show. The first 90%, 80% of the show, we're going to talk about initial coin offerings or initial currency offerings, ICOs. Now, everyone knows what an IPO, initial public offering, is, right? This is something very similar, but it's new, related to the cryptocurrencies, using coin to start the funding process for your business. And so we have two experts in the field. We have Roop Singh, who has started a company called Intuit Factory, which is all over the cryptocurrency blockchain space. And then we're going to speak with Susan Akbarpour. She's been on the show before to talk about her company, Mavatar. It turned out that Mavatar was the perfect candidate to fund with an ICO. And so she has done exactly that and has raised millions of dollars to get her new business up and running. And so this is a fantastic story, and I'm excited for you to meet both of these guests. Then we're going to switch gears and talk about the week that we are in. It is actually National Small Business Week, April 29th through May 4th. And so we are in the middle of National Small Business Week, and we wanted to honor that. And so we're excited to welcome to the show Scott Peterson. He is with Verizon, and we're going to talk all about what Verizon is doing in the space and also about National Small Business Week. Scott is the Vice President and General Manager for business market groups there. And so I'm excited to speak with him and really to honor Small Business Week. You know, it's so important to all of us. We are all living the small business life. That is what we are in the middle of. And so this week is sort of dedicated to us. This is our Christmas, New Year's, Hanukkah, everything rolled into one. And so I hope you're doing something at your business to honor that, maybe having some specials or something like that to encourage all of the consumers out there to spend more money with us small businesses. So a very important week, and I'm excited to talk more about it. So we got a big show for you today. As a matter of fact, this show is going to go a little long by our normal standards. And so I hope you enjoy the extra few minutes. We will put them on your bill, okay? So when you get your monthly bill as a listener, we will add that to it. Of course, it's all free. We will be right back. Very excited to introduce you to my first guest today. He is someone that I've known for about 10 years, and I've enjoyed watching his career. He has started a new company in the blockchain space, so we're going to learn a lot about that today. His name is Roop Singh, and the name of the company is Intuit Factory. They have partnered with the Georgia State University Robinson College of Business. They're soon going to be doing a 4-day blockchain strategy boot camp. Intuit has also worked with old existing businesses and emerging startups, so they have learning from both sides, and he has been a speaker at places like Harvard and other blockchain events as well. Roop, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Thank you, and thanks for that wonderful introduction, Jim. And I'm excited to be here.
All right. So explain blockchain for the people who don't know what it is. Let's start there.
Okay, so let's imagine that we have a set of transactions to do, you and me. I want to send $20 to you, and you want to send $20 to Bob. And then Bob wants to send $20 to Susan. Now, in the old way of doing things, we each party would keep a record of all these transactions within ourselves. Maybe we write it on a piece of paper as we used to do a few hundred years ago, or maybe a better technology since then called the databases, and we would keep those into our own records. Imagine that something happened to those records. Then what happens? We don't have any source for that information. So blockchain gives us a better alternative for sharing those transactions and keeping a version of the truth. So let's say for a second that we had those transactions and then we published them together at the same time on a shared wall. Let's say it's a physical wall, it's in front of you. You can look at the wall, I can look at the wall, and so can Bob and Susan. And we each know what transactions were made at what time. So there is no discrepancy. There is no doubt on what the authenticity and veracity of that data is. And we have a shared state of those transactions. Every time we do a transaction on a particular time period, we put those on the wall and we all are clear. There is no reason to reconcile those transactions over and over and over again as we do in the current world. So blockchain itself is just an evolution from the old technology of databases now into what we call as distributed computing. And let's allow another level of intelligence to this. Let's say that we don't want others to see, apart from the four of us, what those transactions were. So we can add very heavy military-grade encryption to it. And in that sense, only the people who have the key to view these set of transactions would be able to see it. Others will know that there are transactions there, but will not know the content of them. So what we have here, blockchain simply explained, is a shared state of data amongst the participant. And what enables this is distributed computing and encryption. Does that help, Jim?
It does. It makes a lot of sense to me. One thing I don't understand is, where does your wall, the data, the database live? Does it live on all four of our computers, four other computers? Where does that data actually reside?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So the answer is we can decide. It will certainly live on a set of computers, and there can be other people's computer that chose to be part of the network, or it could be our computer. In our previous example, it could be yours and mine and Susan's and Bob's. And we say, hey, this is a private blockchain. Only we four have access to it and can join the network and can view the data, but nobody else could do so. Or we could go to a public blockchain model where, let's say, 10 of our friends have joined together and said, I will provide you with this public utility, this network of nodes that will share your data. I will not have access to manipulate it, because on a blockchain, once you publish something, it's immutable. It cannot be changed. And I will even not have access to view it if that's what you want, but I will know that the transactions are there, and I will provide you with this infrastructure, these set of nodes, which are connected and can talk to each other and can replicate or propel your transactions. And in that sense, I'm providing you a public utility, and you can come put your data over here, no questions asked. The other option is the private blockchain, where we develop our own network, and we only share it with the participants that need it to have access. Does that make sense?
It does. You know, I think I'm starting to figure this out. I've been having a lot of conversations about this with my friends, and I want to ask you or tell you about a conversation I had, and I think you know the person that I'm referring to. I can't tell who it is on air, but this is someone at the Atlanta Tech Village who is a lawyer, and we were arguing about Bitcoin and how Bitcoin and blockchain go together. And my thesis was that Bitcoin cannot exist without blockchain, but blockchain can easily exist and be a part of other industries without Bitcoin. Who was right, me or the lawyer?
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. So I will, in this instance, I definitely agree with you. And here's my
Oh,
position.
that is, there's nothing happier than hearing that a lawyer was wrong, group. Nothing makes me happier than knowing that a lawyer made a mistake. So, now explain that, though. Let's explain for the listeners. I'll shut up and quit relishing in my intelligence. You explain why blockchain and Bitcoin are not necessarily connected. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
Yeah, explain.
yeah, so I think the lawyer just needs to have a slightly more nuanced conversation. So my position is this: we are, if you look at Bitcoin and blockchain, they have this, they have connected and linked trajectories, but distinct destinies, which is in fact what you were saying as well. So, in other words, Bitcoin happened because of blockchain. That's the underlying technology. So when I talk to Bitcoin maximalists and people who are really enthusiastic about it, I agree that, this whole era of cryptocurrencies is essentially the child of Bitcoin, and we all birthed from there. The underlying fundamentals of blockchain can still be applied in a lot of different areas. So Bitcoin, which is essentially a peer-to-peer cash or digital cash transaction system, is one use case of blockchain, just one. And in some ways, it may be the simplistic or the most simple fundamental use case for blockchain. But now what we have seen since the advent of that technology in the past 9 years or so, we have seen blockchain being applied to so many different industries. Your mind will be blown. Over 30 industries are being disrupted. And we are now getting to a place in the world where two things are going to happen. One, we will have a store of digital assets. Essentially, we can convert all the physical assets into a digitally codified form and be able to share it and trade it as we share information on the internet today. So this is just the next evolution of transfer of value as digital assets on a connected set of nodes called the internet. Now, the other thing that is going to happen, and we see big trends in that, is the fact that our trust will now be not in a person or a company or an institution, but our trust will reside in the chain. Essentially, we all will move into a society where we will trust that the data that has been put on the chain is immutable and it is trustworthy, and then, hence I can trust the parties that are involved in such transactions. This is different from today's model, where a company or an institution just publishes some data and says, hey, you must trust me. I think that era is gone. And as a result, what you will see is you will find that consumers will demand this, and companies will have to move towards this idea of more transparency and more trust and sharing that on the blockchain. Does that make any sense?
It does. That makes a lot of sense. And again, all I can say is I'm just glad that I'm right and the lawyer's wrong.
I'm sure we'll find him and we can let him know of that.
We are speaking with Roop Singh, a blockchain expert, in his company, the Intuit Factory, is all over blockchain technology. As a matter of fact, one of my friends has hired them to assist with something called an ICO, not an IPO, initial public offering, but an initial coin offering. Roop, this is brand new to me. Explain, please.
Sure. So like in the past, companies used to issue shares and go public and have an initial public offering of shares. Now we have a different model. Companies are developing things called utility tokens, and they are now issuing that for accredited or retail investors to purchase those. And the idea behind it is once you become part of the the initial coin offering, you get to purchase certain tokens at a price, and then you get to be part of that company's network and use those tokens for the utility that they offer in their products and services. Now, here's the interesting thing to note. This is a very sensitive topic in terms of regulatory compliance. So what's happened is the correct term is crypto assets. Companies are issuing tokens, which essentially should be called crypto assets, that work on their networks or their platform or their decentralized applications. And now it is available to so many investors who did not have access to that kind of investments before. The challenge is, in different regulatory environments across the world, we are not clearly defined on what these are considered in terms of law. Is it a security? Is it a commodity? Is it a property? Or something else? So I'll give you a couple of examples. There is a state in the United States called Wyoming, and they recently passed 4 laws that created and legally approved this new class of assets called utility tokens, which is not considered a security, not considered an equity or a commodity or a property. You can look it up. It's a recent development, I think last month. And what that does is it brings into question a lot of fundamental nature of how we look at assets and money and transfer of value. So just to dial it back, the biggest opportunity here is for a lot of startup companies and even existing companies. I can give you a couple of examples of that are now looking to launch these assets as utility tokens, and they are also looking to raise capital by allowing investors to buy these tokens early on, and it becomes a capital raising mechanism, which has now sort of tripped up the venture capital industry. So a lot of these early stage projects are now being funded, even though they may not have any product or service available at the moment. And that's a huge disruption of the VC market.
All right, so I still have to go get investors who buy the tokens, the coins, though, right? I still have to convince people to do that. Is that not correct?
That is partially correct. So you have to get investors, either accredited investors or retail investors. The other way to do it is, and I've talked to a few companies who are now looking to do it this way because of regulatory risk. The company could actually just issue these assets without having anybody to buy them. They can airdrop it. They can say, here, Jim, I like you. I know you've been playing my video game for 5 years, and here's 100 tokens of my crypto asset that is used within our gaming environment. Go, feel free to play with it. It's like giving free points or free miles at the airlines. So you necessarily did not spend money to buy it, but now you have them, and you can do things with them inside their environment. So that's another method people are looking to really adopt.
Okay. But I don't have any money yet, right? So where does I need $5 million. Where does the $5 million come from, Roop?
Who are you, a retail investor, a company, or just a consumer?
I'm a startup. I'm a healthcare startup.
Okay, great. Well, you have a couple of options. Either you go the traditional route and raise capital through a VC and seed rounds and seed, etc., or you have a product or a service and you start selling it to consumers and start getting revenue. The other option, which is what ICO brings in, that you could release your crypto assets before even having a product release, and you somehow convince the world that this is going to be an amazing product and this is going to be an amazing venture for them to be part of, and you convince them to buy your service beforehand, which is the idea behind a utility token. If you really look at the nuance, what you're saying is, by buying this token now, I'm agreeing to utilize your service when it becomes available. right? The other mechanism is you qualify that as a security. And you say, okay, this is not for a service, this is not a utility token, but it is only to raise capital to get this company off the ground. And these are the terms behind it. And now we will consider it a security, and we will comply with the laws of the land. And you should come and be participant in this venture because this can raise in value over time, and it might make you a good return on your investment. So that's the other option to go. Does that help?
Yes, but then you're competing with all of the other cryptocurrencies, right? Like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dash, all of those, right?
Absolutely, you are. And in fact, for that purpose, within our firm, we've done a lot of research in developing a diagnostic model to compare all of these crypto or blockchain-based companies relatively, meaning how do you differentiate one from the other, which one has more chances of success than the other. And as you said, you are competing, but you may not be competing in the same use case. So it depends on what you're trying to do, and you need to look at what is the utility value of such a use case and such a crypto asset. And then in our model, we look at 8 dimensions and multiple factors, which span from investors and their teams and the uniqueness of their products, the uniqueness of the business problem they're trying to solve, the market value, and more importantly, the network effects and the ecosystem effects that they could have. And then we look at regulatory aspects of where in which part of the world, because now this is a global game. Are they looking to launch their services and where are they based out of? And how can that impact the eventual value of their token?
Okay, Roop, it seems to me like I have doubled the risk. So now not only do I have the risk of my healthcare startup, the healthcare startup could not find a market and blow up. I have that risk, but now I also have the risk of the utility token coin that could blow up as well. It seems to me instead of having one risk bucket, I have 2 risk buckets.
Yeah, I would agree with that. On the flip side of it, you also have a reward. The reward is that
True,
if you
yes.
are successful, right, you are able to raise capital at a stage that conventionally you may not get from the VC industry. And there's plenty of examples of that. You look at some projects like Bancor or ESOS or even Filecoin. They were able to raise capital even before they actually had a product or even an alpha because they had put a lot of time and effort in solving very fundamental problems. So the way I look at this phenomena is in 2 ways. One, this is a way to fund a lot of very interesting research experiments. Some of them will fail. In fact, majority of them might fail. And we as an industry should be ready for that and should learn from it and should, in fact, even accept it. And if you look at the data for the last 2 years of ICOs being issued, a lot of the companies are not even around anymore. The question becomes, well, which products are being launched? They promised us something 2 years ago. Where are they on their roadmap? Can I use their services now? And the answer is no. They're struggling because a lot of these technologies are not easy to build conceptually. And the other part is, as you know very well, most of the startups that start don't actually succeed for multiple reasons. So we still have that risk. And as an industry, we should be okay with that. The other way to look at it is this. This is a new evolution of technology, and that will lead us to a new evolution even of our civilization. I think there is a certain level of irrational exuberance, and there's a certain level of hype associated with it today. But at the same time, most people, most experts that I talk to and practitioners that we work with are very clear on the potential of it. They don't believe that the potential is hype. The only thing that's hype is what are the kind of people that are getting into it? Are these startup founders really the right people to lead these ventures? Do they actually have really good understanding of technology and of business, which is rare to find? And then within that, there will come a few unicorns that will be very successful. So, like in the days of the internet, we used to have the same questions. But even from that era came out companies like Facebook and Amazon, and even things like Uber, shared economy companies where verticals were redrawn. So I think we will see a similar phenomena of a lot of failures, a lot of experiments, and then a few really amazing success cases which will redraw a lot of verticals.
Roop, we only have like a minute left. Tell us about Intuit Factory, what the company can do, why I would hire it, how I can get in touch with you, all of that stuff, please.
Wonderful. So Intuit Factory is a consulting strategy firm in the blockchain space. We help navigate your blockchain journey. So we help you understand what is your blockchain strategy. Is it a threat, an opportunity, or a risk for you? And if you are further along, we help you understand what use cases are good for applying blockchain, and then we develop a software architecture for you, and then we work with partners to get that implemented. If you are a startup, and you need to understand how your business can be a successful business, what are the business models you should adopt, what is the token strategy, and how can you launch more mature ICOs, we help you with that as well. You can find us on intuitfactory.com, and for me personally, you can find me on LinkedIn on Roop Singh, and I'll be happy to speak to you further on that.
Well, Roop, thank you so much. I think I am finally starting to understand all of this. It's taken me forever. Just to let the listeners know, I was at an event where Roop was speaking, and there were like 5 people in the room that just didn't get it. And no matter what they said, they just didn't get it. And I was one of those 5, but I've been doing my research and learning. Roop, thank you so much for all of your help and your elucidation. And I hope you'll come back soon. I hope Intuit Factory ends up taking over the world.
Thank you. And, to your point, Jim, we are at the stage where, people are moving from curiosity to awareness to understanding. And I'm happy that people ask these questions and are getting more and more clear on these things. And that's why we designed a strategy boot camp to help senior executives and seasoned entrepreneurs understand these new developments much better. So I'm happy to be part of that process where we lead you from awareness to deep understanding so you can be part of this journey with us.
Fantastic. Roop, I hope you'll come back soon, and we will be right back. And welcome back to the show again. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm very excited to welcome to the show another ICO expert. Her name is Susan Akbarpour. She is a co-founder and CEO of a company called Mavatar Technologies. This company and Susan were featured on the show about 4 years ago. So this is really cool. We get to talk to Susan again and get an update on the company, and then also find out about her ICO. She's actually doing one this very week, so it's going to be perfect. She has over 25 years of experience and has been a very successful entrepreneur. She is going to speak at all of the conferences on cryptocurrency and ICO and blockchain, and is also writing about it extensively for places like Forbes and some other places like that. Susan, welcome back to the show. How are you doing today?
Hi, Jim. Thanks. Great to be back.
Yes.
I appreciate the invitation.
Well, I always say I want to have my guests back, but I didn't think it would take 4 years to get you back.
I couldn't believe time flies that fast.
Yes.
4 years ago.
All right. Give us an update on, and for the people who have never heard of it, teach us what Mavatar is all about.
Great. Sure. Mavatar started with my research study in the Stanford Graduate School of Business in data modeling and optimization course. I was researching about new advertising models' effect on user privacy, which is, this is 7 years ago, and you see that I've probably been too early to think that way. But to me, the push advertising models were not working. And for me, coming from advertising and publishing industry as a former journalist and publisher who has been always dealing with advertisers, I could see these new models of advertising, like targeting, shadowing people, retargeting, recommendations, all of these noise that we're dealing on a daily basis with were not effective. I could see how these are not signals, and the data that we're aggregating is becoming a noise even for advertisers. At that time, we thought 50% of the advertising dollars, as John Wanamaker, the father of advertising, said, is getting wasted. But today, we know, according to Google recent studies, 60% of the advertising dollars are getting wasted. So I was looking at this picture when I was conducting that study and modeled the data to see who is really benefiting from this picture. If shoppers are inundated by noise and too much junk mails and emails and all of the data that we're sending to them with the hope that they are robots and can process that for extracting value, if advertisers are not getting anything out of that, and 60% of their advertising dollars, which is over $36 billion every year in the U.S., is getting wasted, who is really beneficiary of these models? To me, they were like only digital format of the push advertising models at my parents' time, as they were one of the first founders of the first advertising agencies in Iran 65 years ago. So this picture was wrong. Nothing was working. And to me, bringing a consumer-centric advertising model and making it to become a standard for advertising was the key. However, as a journalist and publisher, content has been always very close to my mind, to my heart, and I was thinking if we can somehow incorporate content and advertising and create a contextual or context or relevant to content advertising to these models, maybe we have a better chance. And at that time, and now, influence marketing is one of the prevalent models of advertising, especially if it's based on cost per transaction, not all other phony metrics of like CPM, CTR, CPC, and all of this that the advertisers are wasting their money and budget on. If we could establish that influence marketing and scale it to turn anyone who has anything to say to become an influencers of the products for retailers, we probably could create a shift or change in this whole industry. And you see today with the emergence of GDPR, which is enforced on May 22nd and doesn't allow advertisers, even U.S. advertisers, to target or shadow European consumers, is becoming really important for us to face with. You see Zuckerberg's going in front of Congress for the privacy breach in Facebook. They are. It seems that they have to change their even business model, which is on push advertising. It seems that there is a force, and I could predict it apparently 7 years ago when I started creating and thinking about a consumer-centric advertising platform. It took us 7 years, over 50 developers, including 6 PhD of computer science, to create an amazing, massive platform for allowing consumer to become, to actually be in the driver's seat and enjoy or benefit from user-generated advertising and contextual advertising. And I tell you what that means. For us, this platform, this platform's promise was closing the gap between online and offline shopping, sales, and advertising. If we could create or make the world around us shoppable, we allow people to see things anywhere in the video, in social media, in traditional media, in print, in real world. In this room around me, if they could see the products and easily could buy it or find it online and offline were practically closing the gap between online and offline shopping, sales, and advertising. So that's what our platform does, and does it really well today. We can practically partner with all the top retailers and brick and mortars, help people to buy directly from movies, print magazines, the world around them, find those products offline and online and 5 miles radius from their home or online. So we have created an amazing platform with most innovative features and capabilities that you can think of. And last year, this summer, around summertime, we were very proud of finishing the platform, rolling out the product, and we went to these top retailers and we said that now we can launch your products everywhere, and you can license this software, or we have a marketplace actually software as well that can be operated by media companies being partnered with these top retailers. They look at the platform, they were mainly overwhelmed. We met with over 10 top retailers, and they were very overwhelmed. They could see the potential, but there was this damn question that made us basically depressed for months. Who wants to take care of the accounting part of this amazing platform? Yes, you're creating 2 million or a new type of sales force for us, and you're adding 2 million people to our sales team, which is great. You can turn every Facebook post or Instagram post or video or print magazine article to sell our product, but we have to, give practically commission to these creators of the M cards, which is actually our core, the core of our technology that can monetize any type of content. So who wants to take care of the accounting part of it? Who are sending these checks sometimes at a fraction of dollars for the creators of these M cards? And we didn't have an answer. We thought that, well, our job is creating this software that can conduct this miracle, and you send those checks. And they said, no. If you want to send a check at a fraction of dollars for one of these influencers every month, it can cost us $15 to $20. And the reason that we're working with traditional affiliate networks today, because they take care of these accounting, and we know the money doesn't really get to the hands of our products' real influencers, but, we don't have any other choice, and they bring in traffic, we'll pay for traffic, click-through, and all of that, and we're happy with very half-baked solution that they're providing to us. So we regrouped and thought that we have two choices. One is shutting down the company, and millions of dollars investments and amazing investors behind this company. Chief Privacy Officer of Facebook, former Chief Privacy Officer of Facebook, for my Stanford professor, former CEO of Macy's, Yves Saint Laurent, EVP of Apple, you name it. We have you can see the list of the investors. We have the most amazing investors behind the company, and the money that we spend on creating this platform and everything else. And now our product is too good. It scales the user-generated advertising at a level that no one can afford. So we regrouped and we thought, and at that time we were fortunate to have a new executive chairman joining us, Shayan Zadeh, who was the former CEO and founder of Zoosk, and he's a serial entrepreneur and investor. He joined us as an executive investor, and he's very well versed in blockchain and cryptocurrency world. And now he's also the founder of TrustRoot, which is another blockchain company. So that I'm glad to be an advisor at. And he told us that the only way that we can remove that bottleneck is blockchain and bringing cryptocurrency to this platform.
Susan, this is all unbelievable and amazing, and I remember talking to you 4 years ago, and it's come to pass now. I understand how, if I'm reading the New York Times online, and there's a picture of Prince Harry, and it says right below that, buy this outfit, right? And it shows me the clothes that Prince Harry is wearing, and I can buy them immediately like that. That makes sense to me. How does it work in a movie or print magazine or something like that?
Sure. Our platform is practically a decentralized marketplace with aggregated inventory of the biggest top retailers from Walmart to Neiman Marcus. And you create, like, let's say when you go to any marketplace, like Amazon, you create this shopping cart, or you go to Macy's, you create this shopping cart. And our platform, that shopping cart is store agnostic. You can put items from different stores in one shopping cart. If you could share that cart in the Facebook or put it behind any type of content, that cart could be a landing page that can be accessed by other shoppers to buy from. So what our platform does practically is allowing the shoppers or influencers to create a shopping cart, personal store agnostic shopping cart that, process all other information for the shoppers and showing the coupons, the proximity, location of the products online and offline, lookalikes in other stores. We're processing lots of data, but let's say this shopping cart is ready and you want to put it behind a piece of an article in a newspaper. The platform gives you all the tools that you need, a hyperlink, a short link basically, a QR code, the pictures. You can add content to that cart. You can put a personal picture and the QR code on the picture. If you put that QR code at the end of the magazine on the cover or on each article and says that this is the shopping cart of all the relevant items featured in this article, and someone scans that, they fall into that M-Cart basically landing page, and they can now buy from the stores directly.
Wow. Okay, I get it now, and that is amazing. All right, and I understand the blockchain component of this too. So jump back into the story now and get us up to speed on the initial coined currency offering, all right?
Yes, right. So we leverage blockchain, and we're introducing our own cryptocurrency, M-Cart token, at the end of May. Basically, it's going to be in the market, and all other platforms that we're licensing to our customers, they will use it as a fuel to that engine. And now we can reward basically the influencers and creators of the M-Cart with our cryptocurrency rather than fiat money and checks and all of that back office services that I talked to you about. And the ICO was basically allowing our future users, top retailers, marketplace operators to buy and other investors to pre-purchase our tokens at the initial pricing, which is now 47 cents. And they can buy it and then deposit it for running their influence marketing campaigns. And we have investors who wanted also to participate in the pre-sales. We have two big funds, Colin Star and Blockchain Ventures, and Kando Ventures, actually three funds who have already invested in the company. And I'm pre-selling the M-Cart token. And we have over 1,000 other investors and future users who have whitelisted themselves, and they're ready for their approval to buy that. We're hoping to raise about $50 million at least by the end of May through the pre-sale. And that's practically the way our ICO works. And you can find all information in our Telegram page, M-Cart Protocol, Medium page, mcart.io, and Mavatar.com, our websites. So there are a lot of details about this ICO. We have amazing advisors, as you can see in mcart.io, behind this ICO from blockchain, cryptocurrency world, and other technical aspects and business aspects of the technology.
All right. So will all of the ICO investors be retailers? I didn't understand that part.
No, investors can come from, anyone can invest on buying these tokens. The best investors or buyers of these tokens, because now they can buy it for a better price, are top retailers who are using these tokens for running their influence marketing campaigns, and the marketplace operators, basically traditional media, CPGs, procurements, whoever wants to use our software to create their own phygital marketplace. So these guys need to, at some point of time, buy our tokens. Now we're giving them the opportunity to buy it at 25% discount, which as the demand goes up, because we only have 100 million tokens released by the end of the May, and that number never changes. So now that's their opportunity to buy these tokens at a cheaper price, and hopefully, or eventually, when the price goes up, they already have it on the cheaper price, and they can reward the influencers and shoppers through this ecosystem and decentralized network we built.
All right. So can a new retailer, say I own a fishing goods store, I make fishing rods and nets and stuff like that, and I'm listening and I want to participate, can I become one of the retailers, and then how would I get the coins?
Yeah, we have some metrics for the participant or partner stores. They should have a large inventory. This software is very sophisticated and very expensive to run for us as a platform, as a service. So we rather to every of these retailers to bring a large inventory, especially they should have physical stores, because one of the beauty of these M cards is showing the physical location of the products, because we're maneuvering around between online and offline. So we rather to work with brick and mortars that they don't have a sales channels, and 95% of the retail sales still is coming from offline, believe it or not. So we want to become create sales channels for these retailers with large inventory, lots of SKUs that make it worthwhile for us to support. So hopefully these are bigger top retailers that we're talking about, and you don't see any trace of them in Amazon and other marketplaces usually, because it's really hard to work with them in terms of technical integration that we resolve.
We are speaking with Susan Akbarpour, the co-founder and CEO of an amazing company called Mavatar. So eventually this will become a full-blown competitor to Amazon and the large stores like that, and it will have a completely separate basket of inventory. Is that a correct statement, Susan?
Yeah, the inventory is practically the aggregated inventory of all of these brick and mortars. So we're not completely competing with Amazon. Amazon has gone after SMBs, the small to mid-sized businesses,
right,
and they have plenty of them. But the top retailers, they never work with Amazon because of many reasons. And now we're going after those guys, and we're creating, actually, our software allows for other entities to create Amazon-like marketplaces based on any theme, content, visitors. As I told you, our prospect customers for licensing the softwares are media company who are influencing the product sales, but now they can monetize their content in a very easy and effective way down to the sales dollars for partner stores. The social media, influencer marketing platforms, CPGs that they want to create a marketplace with all their sales channels, procurement sites, malls who want to show the inventory of their malls to people when they are at the mall or before coming to the mall, and increase their foot traffic. So we have really of potential customers to license this software, and they create their own Amazon practically.
Right. I love your example of the mall. So an entire mall with 3 or 4 chain big box stores like Parisians or something like that, Bloomingdale's, and then all of the small stores could get together and create LinuxMall.com with 100 small businesses and 4 big box chains and 6.2 million products, right?
Yeah, it's amazing you mentioned that. In fact, we have a product line, we call it Shoppable Wall, that we're giving it to, we're actually offering it to malls, hotels, airports, and everywhere. These are practically vending machines for shopping, and we're partnering with a great company that the product called Magic Mirror, that we're integrated with them, and now as a turnkey solution, we sell that product to malls and all other locations where the visitors and shoppers are basically commuting, and they can buy from those local inventories.
All right. But all of this is only possible because of blockchain. Explain to me how blockchain fits into this and becomes so critical.
Right. Blockchain, okay, I give you an example of your brain, right?
Okay.
Your brain cells are getting trained to eventually react on any events or something when something happens to you, that they can react and do the right thing, right? So in fact, there is the blockchain. There are a lot of similarities between the brain and a network which is powered by blockchain. This is a decentralized network, and our previous software allows this platform to basically analyze data and provide that data to the users of that product. But the blockchain makes it decentralized. Basically, we're building that ecosystem where shoppers, retailers, and influencers can work with each other, create value for each other, transact value, and get rewarded based on the contract that they have, and they simply can put up in any of these marketplaces. We allow them to go to a very simple dashboard. A retailer goes and they said that from now on, from this time to that time, everyone who promotes my product gets 5% of the commission of the entire transaction. And I want this 5% value to get divided between like 20% to marketplace operator, 10% or 50% to the creator of the M card, and even 10% to the shopper for verification of the sales. You see that they have this smart contract between each other, and from now on, the network automatically takes care of all these transactions, tracking all that value that is transferred between all these constituencies, and reward them with the cryptocurrency, put them automatically in their digital wallet that they can exchange to fiat money later. So everything will be automatic, right? It's exactly like working like your brain when it's matured and complete, right? Everything works hand in hand without any controller party.
Well, remember, Susan, remember
based on
I am a male, and so my brain only works like 40% as good as your brain does. Can we acknowledge and accept that?
Well, our brains are functioning differently. You guys can focus, we can see the big picture.
Yes. All right, Susan, let's be serious, and you quit insulting my small brain. Okay, so could this only have been done with an ICO? Could you have raised $50 million in venture capital? It seems to me that the whole thing only works because of the cryptocurrency. Is that correct?
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, this is another vehicle for fundraising. The reason that I really like ICOs and fundraising through that channel rather than traditional investors or VCs is the fact that you're bringing the whole community, a larger community, who are your early adopters, the early adopters of your product together, and they're betting on your success. Right, so they're part of the community. They are partner in your upside as well, because if they buy the token now and the token value goes up, they are not only the early adopters of your product, they are encouraging others to use it, because the investors and the users of your product, or as you know, mainly the ICO investors, maybe 90% of them are developers. So it's a great opportunity to go and test your idea, your product, your company, whatever you created, and run it to a larger community than, like, let's say, 100 VCs that possibly you can knock their doors, right? So, and they're putting a smaller bet, so they just really don't get hurt if things fall apart in smaller ICOs or the ICOs who don't have established product like ours or established company behind them. So even if they fail, those guys are not failing that big, but the the entrepreneurs have the luxury of getting the market reception and feedback on early on, right? And if you go to our media and Telegram, you see people are talking about different features, what they want this product to do later, what they're envisioning to do. This is amazing interaction and feedback from a larger community that you can get from the VC community. And in fact, that $10 to $15 million that we wanted to raise, it was our Series A goal and objective, but it was really hard to get the attention of the VCs when you are you're actually creating a platform. Because platform need to prove themselves, have a very solid revenue and pipeline before any investor to even look at it. This is a chicken and egg situation. And if you don't have money, how you can you build a pipeline? You need to run the fuel into that to show the result. And for that, sales and marketing, you need money. But the investors wait their time for the platform to have a huge revenue and practically pipeline, and then invest on you. With ICOs, that's not the case. The developers and the investors are getting excited about this product. They put their money behind their mouth, right? And they thought about you, and now they are your partners. So that's why I really like raising money if you have a reason, if you have a utility or your token has a real utility, clear utility, right? It's not just there for raising money, right? If you have a solid company, solid product.
That's it. It's got to have the utility. Yep, you're so right.
Exactly. So if you really do that ICO while the utility of the token is clear, I rather to raise funds through ICOs and bringing a larger community behind my product rather than going through the traditional way.
Susan, we are out of time. How can people find out more about you, follow you online, all of that stuff, please?
Yes, great. You can find us. Our website is mcart.io, and the product website is mavatar.com. You see all of our social pages. You can find us in Twitter, Medium, Telegram, all the usual suspects. And there are links to that. We have been listed by over 20 ICO-related platforms, ranked very, very high by ICO Bench and ICO Rating. And there are a lot of information about us. Just Google search MCART or Mavatar or MCART protocol or MCART token, and you find a lot of information about us. And I've been speaking in more than 20 conferences for the last 2-3 months. And our views, our vision, our product is really apparent everywhere. And we're going to be the title sponsor of the C-Commerce Summit, ccommercesummit.com in Napa, where the retailers and media partners and customers, potential customers, have an opportunity to take a look at our products, our partners' products, and also get informed about what is happening in the C-commerce, basically industry, contextual, consumer-centric, and connected commerce, which is going to be tomorrow, which is going to start March 3rd to 5th in Napa, in California, followed by an amazing wine tour to Darius Winery and other wineries in there. So hopefully we get to have get together this community and have their support behind this product, business, and technology that definitely change the way people shop, sell, and advertise.
Unbelievable story, Susan. Thank you so much for being with us. Just great stuff. Thanks a lot, and I'll talk to you again in 4 years. Let's make it 4 months this time.
I know. Don't wait too long this time. Come back sooner.
All right. Well, thank you, Susan.
Thank you so much, Jim. It was a pleasure talking to you, and thanks for letting me to share our story with your amazing audience.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you, Roop, as well, for being with us. We are out of time. We'll be back tomorrow with more great School for Startups radio. Bye now. And welcome back to the show again. Thank you so much for being with us. You know, as part of Small Business Week, we always go out and try to find as many large businesses that can give us some advice, give us some help, and honor the small businesses that make up a huge part of their portfolio. And to that end, I'm very excited to welcome to the show Scott Peterson. He is part of the Verizon business market. He is the vice president there and responsible for $2.3 billion in annual service. They have regional customers all over the United States with 1 to 300 employees. And they're here today to talk a little bit about Small Business Week and some of the things that Verizon can do for us. Scott, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm great, James. Thanks for having me on, and really happy to be here to celebrate small businesses and the kickoff of Small Business Week.
Yes, it is very exciting for us too. Tell me, what is Verizon doing special to celebrate this week?
Well, we've got a number of activities throughout the week to really commemorate small businesses. Many folks don't realize the importance that small businesses play in every community and region, and like you mentioned, around the country. 95+% of Americans work in small businesses. 97% plus of all businesses in the United States, would be considered small businesses. So we certainly celebrate and support those small businesses and try to make their IT health front and center and as easy as possible for them. We love the small businesses that take basic technology and turn it into something that's a creative advantage for them. I'd like to call out Laundromat Dog Grooming, which is a fantastic Verizon customer up in Buffalo. Started out caring all about high-speed internet and turned that high-speed, safe internet into a marketing advantage for their customers. So some really creative work going on there, as well as other spots around the country. Happy and proud to represent small business customers.
What were they able to do? Were they able to broadcast all of the pets in the kennel so that the owners can watch them during the day, make sure they're getting taken care of, that kind of thing?
Yeah, that's right. They used some of the bandwidth there for that check-in for owners. They also were really creative in using social media and their bandwidth connectivity to draw other local businesses and local consumers into their business. Just some really innovative work there, and it can only happen when you take creative people and give them the right tools.
All right. Why does it matter which carrier we choose? Verizon versus AT&T. Does it really make a difference for a small business? What does Verizon offer that's special?
Well, Verizon thinks about small businesses as, key to the economy, like we talked about. We also want to make sure that those small businesses can focus on what they do best. There's a reason they started that small business, and it probably wasn't to care for their network speeds or network security. And so we want to make that as easy as possible for them and just a tool in their toolbox that they can execute going forward. So we educate a lot of our small business prospects and customers through a variety of information that's on our website, verizon.com/business. And specifically, they'll see tips around security, but lots of other IT health check issues that are good to do, a good reminder as we kick off Small Business Week, but also important throughout the year.
And what is the sentiment of small businesses that you're talking to, Scott? Are we excited about the future, scared, concerned? Where are we on the spectrum?
Well, I talk to a lot of small business owners every day, and there's a wide variety. But the one thing that I admire most about small businesses is that they have a passion for what they're doing. There's a reason that most of these people decided to own their own business versus work for a large corporation. And they believe in that specialized service they provide is unique and can be individualized for their customers. And that expertise, that passion, that desire to serve their customers better is what makes working with them as a carrier so impressive and really an honor every day.
I believe you did something special with Sacred Heart. I don't know if it was university or Sacred Heart School. Can you tell me about that program?
Yeah, absolutely. Sacred Heart is an elementary school in the Boston area. was an opportunity to provide technology solutions to the students and put technology in the hands of students who otherwise wouldn't have had an opportunity to use it. And so when we talk about the inspiring stories of creativity and innovation from a small business, that gets multiplied when you see hundreds of kids who would not have otherwise had access to technology suddenly being able to explore the world around them. So we worked very closely with Sacred Heart to deploy the technology, and the kids are producing some amazing results.
All right. When we talk about the new trends, the new technologies that we see coming out, or is there anything we need to be aware of that Verizon's going to be rolling down the pipeline here in the next year or two? Any special things that small businesses will be able to use in terms of technology?
Yeah, absolutely. Stay tuned. Lots of innovations coming in terms of new technologies from Verizon that are specific to small businesses. For today, and one of the things we've been asking small businesses to think about coming off of our 2018 data breach investigative report is your cybersecurity program part of your overall IT health in check? And although that can sound daunting to someone who's not an IT expert, it's really pretty fundamental. Have we educated and trained employees about what our policies are around what data of ours we want protected and not shared? What data of our customers do we want protected and not shared? And then just some basic hygiene. Have our router passwords been reset in the last couple months? Have we made sure that our purchases, as well as anyone purchasing from us online, are PCI compliant, payment card compliant in the standards there? So there's some fundamentals that people can do, and just good to be top of mind and keep yourself from being vulnerable to these attacks.
Yeah. What about our smartphones that are on Verizon? My smartphone is a Verizon unit. Is there anything I need to do special to update it to anything I can do for security protection? Anything in mind there?
We would always encourage smartphone customers to make sure to keep the latest software updates and the pushes from Verizon or whoever your carrier is. As long as you do that, you should be in good shape.
All right. Scott, how can we find out more and see any data, statistics, anything like that you want us to know about? Where can we go and find out more?
Yeah, love to provide more information. Welcome all to Verizon.com/business. Wide variety of information there across multiple industries. So regardless of what small business area a particular company serves, lots of good information there. And then on the DBR specifically, you can download it from our website or go to Verizon Insights Lab.
Well, fantastic. Scott Peterson, Verizon Business Market Group Vice President and General Manager. Thanks for being with us today in the middle of Small Business Week, and I hope you have a great day yourself. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Jim. Take care. Bye.
Well, I want to thank all three of my guests. Thank you. Have a great Small Business Week, and we'll be back tomorrow with more great School for Startups Radio. Bye now.